Hello, everyone, and welcome to the conversation. Before we get into this, which is episode 2, had a little hiccup last week. Appreciate you guys all rolling with that. But before we get into that, I want to introduce the defender of self-employment, the host of the Be My Own Boss podcast, and founder of newjobsamerica.com, Mike Hruby. Mike, how are you tonight?
Hey, Steve, I am just great, and I'm delighted to be back on Rideshare Rodeo.
Yeah. And so I'm delighted to have you back here too. So some of you already know Mike. And if not, you will hear soon. So I have a couple things I want to bring up to Mike, but before that, let's let Mike, you want to just tell us about what kind of little background on you, the podcast,
Sure.
New Jobs
Sure.
America, just give us a little bit of a
How did I get here? What happened? I'm Mike Hruby, and I'm your host at the Be My Own Boss podcast, and I do other things too. I've been a self-employer for more than 40 years, and Steve jokes about that, and I say, yeah, but I was -6 when I started. For the last 14 years, I have worked as head of New Jobs America, it's a nonprofit, and we defend self-employment. And self-employment is now up to 76 million people in this country. I can relate to every one of them because I've been self-employed. I've been a client of online contractors. I've been an employee. I've worked for the New York State Senate, just all over the place. And the most fun, clearly, is being self-employed. There's no question it's the best way to go. Crazy at times. Steve actually helped me set up this project of New Jobs America called the Be My Own Boss podcast. Be My Own Boss. We use the phrase because every single person who is self-employed has used that phrase to themselves, sometimes out of frustration, sometimes out of determination, but always intensely. I want to be my own boss. And you all know the reasons why they feel that way. And that's what we're trying to get the public more involved, get self-employers more involved. The podcast is our way to reach out and get people to fight back against the barriers that are being put up in federal law and in state law to stop people from being self-employed. It's crazy. There's a long story, but Steve has been very kind to show me the ropes, and now I have my own podcast, and we'll be having you on very shortly, Steve. My job.
Yeah,
my work.
Mike is he's underdoing this a little bit. He was a guest many times. Mike, we've known each other for years now. But so he's been on this podcast many times, but he's, just so you guys know, he passed his 50 mark. I was telling him, I know some people who haven't passed their 50 mark who have been at this for a couple of years. He's done more than 50 episodes already.
50.
He's done it weekly.
51 on Wednesday, Steve. Yesterday.
So next week is a year then, because there's 52 weeks in a year.
Yeah. Well, yes, there's not a podcast.
I mean, there might have been a week or two you took off, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway,
but I think that's my point is you've been pretty good about that. So if you guys haven't, it's on YouTube. You can find it. It's at Be My Own Boss podcast. And the link will be in the show notes, or if anybody wants to leave it in there that has it in the chat, that would be great. If you're watching on the replay, it will be in the show notes though. So check it out. Go over there, subscribe. He goes live once a week. It's on Wednesdays at 2 p.m. and Eastern time. And his podcast has a runtime of about 20-25 minutes. So go over there, give him a like, give him a comment. We all know how the algorithm, how it works. We know what bumps it up a little bit and gets it seen. And even just going over there and liking something, subscribing something, just go over there and do a few things for him. You know, I mean, because this is a cause. This isn't a channel, guys. This is a cause. So
this is your career, guys. Your career. And ladies too. Self-employers are more women than men, believe it or not. Guys, you're in the minority. You've got to speak up. Ladies.
And he's been just a wealth of knowledge for me. And when I met Mike and I've brought questions to him, he's helped me with so much of what I brought to you guys. So just know that. So go over and give him a little love. Appreciate that.
Steve's very kind. Thank you, Steve.
So last year I bounced an idea off Mike about doing, we were talking about having people write their write their lawmakers, their elected officials, and we were trying QR codes and all these other things, and then I suggested to him, what about video testimonials? How would it be to have independent contractors do a 30-second ish video testimonial, give or take? And I mean, he didn't even like it. He loved the idea. And so loved it. And all of a sudden, like a day later, we were like really like back and forth talking about this and built it out quick. And I don't know, I'll let Mike tell a little bit of that, but about the powerfulness to like who's seeing them, how they're safe with us, but they're not being, nothing's being done with these, but they're just video testimonials from your phone, keeping it positive and saying why. What was it? Why you choose, or why you want to be? Why you choose?
Why you choose? Why you want to do this?
Right. Why you choose to be an independent contractor. And you don't even have to say which platforms or anything you do. Maybe you're doing a lot of independent contractorships. Just why you choose it. You could just say flexibility. You could say, I like to, who knows what your reason. We saw some reasons that I wouldn't have even thought of. And so, I don't know. I want Mike to give the power of this because he speaks with a lot of these lawmakers directly. He deals with them, and even some of them hadn't seen it. So I want him to explain it, and then we're going to put a challenge on you guys.
Nothing, Steve, the underlying reason is that nothing persuades like a personal testimonial. I think people all sort of know that, even a celebrity testimonial, but the voice of the average individual in Congress and in the state houses across the country is really powerful. People think, oh, it's just me, like I'm just here in my little suburb and on my farm, downtown condo, and you forget how much people like the companionship of others, and they're easily persuaded if you just get up there and tell them why you liked it. It's a testimonial. I mean, you're doing your self-employment, you're being your own boss. Why do you like it? So what we ask you to do is just record a simple 30 to 35, 40-second segment, just a real quick, hi, I'm Mike. I work in a nonprofit. I love self-employment because it allows me to do what I think is most important to the public that I serve. And I've done this for so many years, and I'm in Boston, Massachusetts. That's it. You're in and out. You do this every day. Here, when you're talking to your bestie, and here's what I'm doing. That's all it is. Legislators gobble this stuff up. They really don't know much about independent contracting at all. And I've talked with 40 different offices in Congress, and they really are clueless about what's going on. And so part of what you're doing is just telling them, like, this is real. This is Hannibal in New York City, and I'm here because I can go take my kid to school every day. That's really big. So I've arranged my whole life around that. What's more compelling than a dad loving his kid? So
we had that. We had people with, that they were taking care of a parent. We had, I'm just trying to think. There were some really random ones. There were, I'm retired and I'm bored. It's my right to. I mean, the one thing I'll say to you guys is keep them positive, because I have to say that there were two that were, to us, were not usable. I can appreciate where the people were coming from, but there was way too much anger in that. And I think everybody needs to remember that if you're a lawmaker or whatever, even an aide to one or whatever, and you're watching these videos, do you want to watch somebody yelling at you, or would you rather just have them get their words out? You don't have to be smiling and like just in love with the camera. You can say your story however you want to say it, but say it with a positive spin. I love doing this because, not I hate this because.
Right. It's why you love it. All Congress hears are complaints. All state legislators here are complaints. My bridge is broken. There's some damn utility isn't working right. I can't get this company to respond. Negative, negative, negative. If you come in and say, I'm self-employed because I absolutely love it. I screw up a lot, but I fix it, and clients will pay for it. So,
Yeah.
like, where can I beat that? Or I have 3 kids, and they're 6 years apart in age, and they're all going to different schools, and this is absolutely crazy. I love being self-employed. Just say the positive. They don't want to think you need fixing because you've got a problem. They're going to fix it. You won't like the solution, but you're thinking about you're aiming towards the legislator. You're aiming for the public who doesn't get to see independent contractors very often. We're not on the news. We're not out in public. But
if we are, it's usually people striking, and even though they can't. So I won't go down that rabbit hole. But I'm just saying it's usually the opposite side being mad.
Right. The media is looking for people with problems.
Mm-hmm.
And the media knows nothing about independent contracting because they're all, except for some of the writers, they're all W-2, so they go to work every day with the TV studio.
Mm-hmm.
And then finally, your video will energize this whole system and make it real and make it seem urgent, not something you want to leave go, because these people some of them are making 40, 50,000 as, working part-time, and they're busting their rear end. So you want it to be urgent for all these people, and you can do a lot. You would be amazed at what you can do and where we can send your video, just 30 seconds of you.
Yeah. So you guys, the link to that will be below after this show too. It's a vloggy upload, or if you feel more comfortable, you can mail it right to me. I can get it to Mike. Him and I work right in unison together, so you can always email me. You guys all have my email. If not, it's in the about of this, or it's in every podcast about, or it's steve@ridesharerodeo.com. But the vloggy one will be in there, where you can just directly upload it right to it. The link will be there. So actually, is this the code for vloggy right here?
Yes, the QR code. There it is. Yep.
Yeah. So if you guys want to screenshot that, that is the QR code. It'll just take you right to upload.
And it has the same instructions I just said verbally, so you don't have to take notes. But
your data is safe with us. Nothing's being sold. This is all for the. You don't have to say just your first name and the state or city you live in, whatever you feel like saying. That's enough.
Yeah, that's plenty. I don't want them to be able to dive in and
it's not about finding you. I am Dave. I live in Ohio.
Yeah,
that's really all that's all it needs to be. So, because then we're getting it routed to the right people too. So the last thing before I let Mike go here, because Mike was generous enough to sit in on this. Normally a nighttime thing. I've tried it before with Mike. They're a no-go. So him and I do a lot of day stuff. So
I don't tell my secrets.
No, that's a good thing. I can appreciate that 100%.
Well, I'm two light years east of you, right? And
right. So you're already at
Eastern time zone.
Yeah. But so how many did we get to?
We got 41 fantastic videos.
41.
Okay. We've played a couple. We've issued a couple of them twice, and one guy has Ron in Boston has 3 in there, but they're all different, and that we're looking for that kind of participation. But Steve, if we had 50 more, something, you pick a number, it's your program, but.
Well, I think we should also start to, I forgot to even ask you this, upload the old ones like into shorts on your channel.
Good. I'll do that.
So that way people can go and get references from these other creators and other people who have just done it for us. People who have never got in front of the camera, but listen to these lives. You guys are awesome. You already did it. And all of you who already did it, please do another one. This is a refreshed round. You guys are already masters at it. Do another one. But here's the goal.
Tell us what's new.
Last day of July, we're at 100, including the 41 we have.
That'd be fantastic.
Guys, how could it not be that we get to 100? I know how many people watch this. I know so many of you in the chat appreciate the love and support. 30 seconds of your time is all we're asking. That's it. 30 seconds. So easy. You know, and you guys support the podcast. You're here, you're doing everything else. It's so easy. Just really, it matters that much. These are getting, I mean, I can't remember what the weight Mike gave it last time, but we were trying to, like, when we did finally start getting them incoming, we were weighing them against, like, what do you think this is compared to, like, people writing in or emailing? And it was like, there was, it's like 100 for every 100 emails, a video counted more.
Thing is, when these land in a congressman's office, the staff will always look at them. They get thousands of emails every day. They do not get thousands of videos, and they don't get short ones. They get long laments, complaining about things. But here comes a little short video. The color is always different. The background is different. There's a different flavor. Some guys are pretty funny, and they're, they crack a little joke, but it's short. It's quick. The staffer, I guarantee you, the staffer is going to show that to his legislative director, and both of them are going to take it to the congresswoman, and show them, hey, look what we got today. This is about independent contracting, and none of them are independent contractors, including the member of Congress. So you're speaking for the entire 76 million people when you're being looked at in that office. Guarantee you, I've been in those offices. That's how it works.
So here's what's up, guys. Next week on the Be My Own Boss podcast, again, check that out, please. It's going to be in the show notes, youtube.com/Be My Own Boss podcast. It's Mike's podcast. Subscribe, like, give him some love over there right now. But next week on his show, which is every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific, we'll go over the because we wanted to maybe do some giveaways here to coincide with these. Not that we should have to bribe you, though. Come on, guys. Like, we're just trying to make it more fun, though. We were trying to think of some giveaways we could do, maybe.
Hey, put a little money behind it,
Yeah.
Have some fun. All right.
But thank you, Mike, for joining tonight. Thank you for your time.
You're welcome, Steve.
Mike is such a big part of the things I bring to you, along with several other people too. But let's do this. We got to get what, 59 videos. 59 videos.
60, could do it.
60 puts us one over.
Right.
60 videos.
If you're really worried, practice. Do a couple, and then send us the best one. And
what's funny though? Before I let you go, and I know I got to let you go, but honestly, usually the first time is the one you're going to grab. It just is. It's going to get your passion.
Right.
Unless you just really, oh, I forgot this or whatever. But thank you, Mike, for joining.
You're welcome, Steve.
And you guys, the conversation will start right after this.
All right.
Well, the midnight headlight, blinding on a rainy night, Steve bringing up ahead, slowing down and taking no time. I gotta keep it rolling. Those in the windshield wipers snapping out the tempo, playing perfect rhythm with the song on the radio. I gotta keep it rolling.
I was hearing all that crunching. I was hearing all that crunching while the music was going in. I normally never do. What was it?
Did I have my mic on?
But it shouldn't have mattered. It shouldn't have overrode it. Anyway, welcome to the conversation, everybody, and thank you for tuning in for that earlier part. And thank you for we missed last week. I had some issues. We won't even go down that road. I'm still hearing it. Does it rain?
Yeah, I'm outside. It's raining.
Oh.
You've never heard rain before?
No, I thought you were like crinkling a plastic bottle or something.
Oh, that'd be a jerk, wouldn't it? What, Steve? Can't hear you.
But so, okay, to remind you guys, because it is only episode 2, the conversation, this show, a weekly topical show where the panel is open for everybody to join. Anybody in the live can join, but we'll introduce the topic, and then I'll put the link out there. If you do choose to join, please remember, and you can join just for a few minutes to weigh in on something. You can join to stay on for a little bit and talk, whatever, but we are going to keep it to the topics. If we're talking about trees, don't come in here and ask about airplanes. Like it's try and at least keep us somewhat contained. So the other thing is, and I hate doing this because we don't usually have to do this with the lives, but because it's open to everybody, I at least have to say this out loud. No religion, no politics, and no attacking or bashing anyone. Not going to have it. Not going to have it in the chat. Not going to have it on the panel. But today I'm joined by Gary Middleton. You guys all know him, Mr. Gary, GaryZapps.com, MAXYMO. I was going to put his logo up as he requested, but Gary's been too busy and he got me the logo, but I'll show you guys. It doesn't show on the black.
Well, you do have a photo editor. You could change it yourself. But I'm busy. Bro. I'm busy. You know what? It looks just fine in my app, though.
Right. No. I mean, it looks great here, too.
No, I'll try and get it this weekend and see what I can. I actually sent you the original one with the white border, and you said, "Oh, give it to me as a PNG." So then I gave it to you as a PNG.
Anyway, so tonight I had to get it to one word because it's a little tough. The conversation is going to be safety, specifically gig app's attempt to control how you perform your work, background checks. And I want to go over that background check thing because I was shocked. I put out a poll and I was shocked how many of you guys said no to something that blew my mind that you wouldn't do it. So we'll get into it. I think maybe either you didn't hear me right or something, because I don't see why you wouldn't. And new account safety protocol, if we have time, that's being integrated over at Incognia. If you guys aren't aware, Incognia is now in over 500 million phones. Every one of your phones has Incognia in it. We had the CEO on twice. And the last time he gave me the newest updates to what they're doing, and the protocol is a lot different. And expect facial recognition to be gone by December, he said too. No more. He said that will be how there's like 2-step verification. He's like that. The first interview I did, he said it was like the 3rd step. Now he said it's like going to be the 4th, like doesn't matter if we need it step. So that's kind of cool. But with that comes some other things. So we'll get around to that. And then other than that, Gary, how are you? I don't know.
I'm good. It's raining. It's actually nice and cool outside. So, but I mean, typically on Thursday I'm not busy, but we had a lot of birthdays, holidays, and things like a lot of stuff going on this week. So every Friday I spend it with my parents and some friends, and we moved it to Thursday this week, so I'm actually taking a break from them to help you with the podcast. That's why I'm on their back porch.
Oh, I see. Okay. Oh wait, can I put it in from here? You can get to that. Let me see.
What are you trying to put in?
I'm trying to put can you put the link to this StreamYard in there?
Yeah. In the chat.
Yeah. So if you guys want to join, go ahead. We're going to just start talking. We're going to try and we'll run to the top of the hour. But so I want to talk about because I know Gary was on the Rideshare guys, Show Me the Money Club this week, and he was on there with the guy, at least one of the guys from GigU. I think it was Pedro, right? The CEO.
No, Luis.
Oh, Luis. Yeah, okay. So these guys basically, and I mean, I don't know. I don't even want to, it's not really about what they do, because I want to keep it a little more focused on Gary. But what Gary does, I call a safety app. Maybe a lot of people say now, there's a million things you can set in his apps that filter, like, I don't want to see this. I don't want to see where children live. I don't want to see where, I don't want to deliver where there's dogs. I don't know. You can filter out anything you want, but I think back in the day, one of your more popular features would have been the pricing control. But nowadays, I would just view it as more of a safety issue than anything else, first and foremost. And even you used to say that it is, but now,
the very first time I came on your show, I clarified that. The very, very first time I was on almost every podcast, that's one of the first things I've always done is clarify my app is safety first. It's always been that focus. there's other cool features and functions and things like that are in the app, but the overall core function of it was always to help drivers be safer.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I guess I'm just pointing that out because I'm wondering if people out there are going, man, why would I want to put a filter on it? I just need to see everything these days. Come on. It's not about that. It's about, when you take one, the auto shutting off and not having things in the in intersections or at those, even a quick distracted half a second. The apps have never taken that into account. Gary has. And, MAXYMO does a handful of things. DUH is specific to DoorDash, but so I don't know. These apps, by the way, this is here we get into the meat of it. So the first part of every state's independent contractor law, period is, and it doesn't matter if they call it ABC, it doesn't matter if they call it here's the first part of it, here's this. It's, the very first, in the first part of the language, what you're going to see is the control that one of the things that is a must, even without an ABC test, is that you are free of control from the hiring entity. And there's a reason for this. They don't want every single person saying, I'm an independent contractor. They don't want just people raising their hand and doing it, because there are some tax advantages, or even worse. And I know quite a few people who do this, and I always tell you don't. There are people who are skirting their taxes bad. And I would say play catch up. Don't screw around with that. Sometimes they'll even give you a break too, but at least acknowledge it. I talked to somebody this year around who the last year he told me he hadn't filed in 4 years. This year he's like, I still haven't. I probably just won't now. I'm like going, man, even if you're only paying them a little bit, because at some point they can just come and say they're going to take X amount of your money. They'll get a garnishment seizure from a judge, but if you're making a $10 payment a month, it's something. But that means that in every state, once the offer comes across, we're just going to call them dispatch platforms because it's all they are. Once the offer comes across the dispatch platform, they should only be taking a fixed amount of money. This should not be so dynamic that they're into the, with rideshare, especially over 50% often goes to Uber, over 50%. They should be at a fixed something that's just for doing the transaction, because it's not their client. It's not on them how it's performed. But that's a whole different story. The part of the story we all need to focus on is that because they defy us, and Gary's one of the only people I know who reads every TOS update and every TOS. He knows them. He can even, I haven't, but you can probably say not one of them is taken out in independent contractor yet.
No, they all actually say in their terms of service that you are two separate entities. And that's every one of them. And some of them even actually, like DoorDash, for example, theirs actually has a broke down section of it that actually says that they will not tell you how to perform the services. And all of them got some type of clause like that.
It's like, we won't tell you how to perform it. Yeah. The app will.
Yeah. We won't. But I mean, just think about this. If you're running credit cards, customers come in and you run their credit cards, the credit card companies don't tell you how to do your job or what you're supposed to do. No. They don't interfere with you and the customer. All they do is the transaction. And we've heard it from all of these platforms, that they are not a transportation company. They are not this. They're a tech company is what they all claim to be. Well, and if that's the case,
don't get me started on that, because they're not.
I know they're not, but that's what they claim. But
well,
if that's the case, though, after the customer places the order or schedules the ride or whatever, their part of it is pretty much done. They should have no other interference with anything other than charging the customer and paying the driver. That's it.
Right. But and that is how they'll treat it after the fact. After the transaction's done and the money's in their bank and whatever little chunk you're getting has got to you, at that point, they actually move to that whole system of, that's all your information, man. I don't know anything about it. But in the beginning, it's like, hey, man, we're doing all the work for you. It's like, no, we're doing all the work.
But if it's your information, how come you don't have any access to any clients that you have delivered to or drove somewhere?
And even weirder, Gary, you know this. Remember when they tried profiles? You and I thought it was a great idea forever. We even wanted to start an app because we were like, they should do preferred drivers. There's enough pissed off riders. They actually did launch that. And I think it was like within a month, they're like, dude, pull that down, man. These guys are going to steal our clients. Like, they realized immediately what was going to happen. And to me, I don't know, I was like breaking up, but at the same time, that actually is how it should be handled. But where I was going with all this have to be free and clear is, I mean, technically, if you take a different route than they say, or this or that, they might warn you, or, hey, why are you going that way? Or what's up with this? Or what's going on? And they might be worried that you're stacking multiple platforms on food delivery. And you probably shouldn't be doing that. But they also are doing what Domino's did in the 80s and got sued horribly for. They have a time of delivery, or else they give you you were late. Late is, I mean, again, all of these metrics need to go. They're all BS. It cannot be in an independent contractor setting, which every one of them qualifies us as. You can't have statistics on the people. You either can accept them or deny them when you're offering gigs. That's it. You can't like go, oh, I don't like the way he drives, or I don't like where he's from. I mean, literally, like you have to still, if they want to call it independent contractorship, they got to stick to it. And then in that first part, you're 100% free and clear. To me, that means like, let's take DoorDash's in-app nav. Like, so if you're not using better mapping or whatever, you have to use the in-app one. Here's my thing. They shouldn't even have an in-app one, because technically that's not their job. They should be spending the time on their job, not the mapping. I mean, Gary said last time we were together, he said, because he was in a focus group with Uber years back, and he said the number one thing that year that the Uber drivers requested was better mapping in the app. Are you kidding me? Are you guys idiots? So what? I even said, what, you want Uber to reinvent Google Maps?
Right. Yeah, we have Google, we have Waze. Outside of those two, they're the best. In fact, all these platforms pretty much use them. I know there's open street maps and things like that a lot of them are starting to convert to, but Google and Waze have the biggest database, and it's the most updated database. Why do we need something else?
Well, I can tell you this, that more recently I've been doing a lot more, not a ton, but I mean, I've been doing more than none food delivery, right? Because I still do what I do, but I've been doing more and more. And I will say this, like, I'll open any of the maps, Apple, Waze, or Google, got them all, and they'll all show me about the same way to get somewhere. But in the DoorDash app, it'll always send me right down Colfax, because it's hoping I have to go right down Main Street there and pick up something else along the way, or take a hit on my acceptance rate, which is another phony metric.
Well,
because I'll pass a Taco Bell or whatever. And
you want to hear something very funny, Steve? Is using any map outside of the platform's map is actually violating their own terms of service. Even if they allow it, even if they allow you to, select Google or whatever, by using any other app besides their own app, it violates the terms of service.
You know what else violates the terms of service? And I'm not kidding, is that when if I pass a street and I'm doing DoorDash and I'm using because I've actually been using their in-app for fun. I'm just like laughing at it because I know my city well enough. But when I pass like an alley in Denver, everything's kind of strange. You're going to find a lot of nails, everything in alleys, especially downtown, like where I am. But there's also some one-way alleys that are meant for trash trucks and stuff. If I pass a block where I was supposed to turn, it'll say, turn right down this alley. Okay, that's a one-way alley coming this way. I can't turn onto it. You should know this. And it's not a route of travel. Why don't I just go 15 more feet and take a right on the street? That's what I'm saying. Why is there a reroute go through an alley?
Well, first off, the reroute on all the apps are terrible. How many times did it tell you go down, do U-turn, come back? You're like,
no other app sends me down an alley though.
Yeah.
No other app says, oh, you were supposed to turn right there. You're halfway down the block. You should really go down that alley. Really? I'm going to pop my tire. I'm going to get shot. I'm going to get hit by a trash truck. I'm going the wrong way. I'm going to get a ticket. You guys don't even know you say use our mapping, but your mapping doesn't even know what's up. It just knows here's my view, Gary. I think it knows how to send you by the most restaurants, or the most, like, it's their routes. It's their routes that still get you in kind of the same neck of the woods time to your ETA, but potentially have you stacking something or picking up another, Uber just reinvented the bus again, so now you're like making stops to pick up people on an Uber, so I don't know, but nonetheless, free and clear. And that's their terms of service. That means you can use Gary's apps, which you can anyway. But I mean, like, that means they should even be promoting it if they're not going to have it available, and they can't. That's another thing. I started thinking about that. They actually can't do that because that would be interfering with your work. Because you and I have said, why don't they just put it in their own app? I started thinking, maybe, they probably can't.
Well, they technically, I mean, they probably could, but I mean,
but then they might get kind of sued
though,
for allowing you to discriminate, because maybe you live on a border or some area where this is all the cheap rides, and I'm not going to take those. So,
well, that's what I was saying. Technically, they could. Now, it would be a conflict of interest for their platform, because remember, all they are is a pass-through service. That's what they tell everybody. I'm a tech company, blah 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 blah. But yet then they want to pick and choose. Like I said, using Google Maps and Waze violates every terms of service out there, because it specifically states that you take a notepad and write down an address, you broke the terms of service. And what does Google Maps and Waze do? They save the addresses you've been to. They give you a monthly report of everywhere you've driven. And so even by the platform's definitions, you're not allowed to use those either. So if they're just a tech company, they should, and you're an independent contractor. I've never seen any. I know, but I've never seen any company tell a plumber which hammer to use, or which wrench they have to buy. It's just ridiculous. So as independent contractors, you have the same right. Whether these platforms want to admit it or not.
Right, or if you are having your floors done in your house and the guy doing it says, hey, I got to run out to the store real quick and get something. I'll be back in about 30 minutes. He bit out doing the job. So if you're like, look, there's an Ace Hardware a block away. You don't need to take that long. He might go, well, I have an account 8 blocks away, so I'm going to go there. So that's what I'm going to do.
Right. And that's the next thing. If you have a deliver by time, or something like that like DoorDash, they say deliver by. It doesn't matter what I do between pickup and drop off, as long as I make those deliver by times. That's all that should matter.
Yeah. Well, but even that, if you remember, that's what Domino's got in all that trouble for, man. You can't put that. I mean, yes, you can. They can't have a metric against you for it, though, if you're late. There are so many factors: weather, traffic, accident.
Reasonably late, though. Reasonably late.
But you know what I mean, man. I mean, like, it shouldn't be in your face. It's 3:53. It has to be there, because sometimes it's been dropped a few times. You're going to barely make it. Now you're speeding, or you're you're blowing a red light or something. You're potentially putting everybody else in danger because of a stupid metric. And again, the newbies that come on, they honestly believe in this for a while, and that's what they count on. They think this matters.
I don't listen to metrics. I never have. I mean, you don't.
No,
either,
I know,
Steve.
but I'm saying, like,
we've
the newbies always, but the newbies would. I mean, like, right now, I'm not going to get into what's going on here, but Colorado's finding itself in okay, go ahead.
But besides newbies doing it, it's an unfair practice anyways. I mean, because they're building systems based off those metrics, and you can't do that. You're violating your own terms of service when you're doing that type of stuff, because you're directly manipulating the contract for them, not for the drivers, but for them.
Right. Yeah. I mean, but nonetheless, I mean, they would never endorse your app. People, maybe they just turn cheek to it, whatever. But basically they're against it. And yet, I mean, in the bottom line, if you sat somebody down at really high up at Uber, he would have to say, I am against that app. We don't want you using that. And yet it's a safety app, and they don't have a safety feature.
Yeah, and they all make public comments all the time. We care about driver safety. We're big on our safety. This is our safety month. But yet they refuse to work with any safety app at all. Any safety app. It doesn't matter what it does. And then they purposely try to find ways to block third-party apps, things like that. They're contradicting exactly what they say every time they say safety, because what they really mean is we need to find out how we can make drivers accept bad offers so we make more money.
Yeah. I mean, and yet at the same time, here in Colorado, where we've got the transparency law now, I mean, I'm telling you, it would be interesting to watch you come out here in DoorDash, Gary, because you would actually know from the programming side without using your apps what they're doing. Because you'll see me in the car. I'm like, I ain't taking nothing for less than $2 a mile. And that might be really high to some of you guys. You're like, Steve, you've been a bottom dasher since the beginning, dude. What are you talking about? That's my metric. That's why I'm a bottom dasher. I'm not moving my car for less than $2 a mile. Sorry. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. So I was always in the single digits forever. Since transparency, I stick with my $2 a mile. I do not see 10, 20, 30, 50 offers in an hour. And yes, volume's down across the board nationwide. But nonetheless, I'm not seeing even that order volume. I see 2 to 3 to maybe 4 offers an hour. But guys, that can be enough, because really you can only complete 2, maybe 2.5 in an hour kind of thing. So really, but when I do see them, 3 out of 4 at least are $2 a mile or more. So what I'm saying is, instead of bombarding me with everything, since the transparency law, they're like, well, this guy only takes $2 offers. Just send him a $2 one when it's around him. And I can tell you, they are back to definitely. And I've talked to enough people. We've just seen it. Platinum means nothing anymore. Even in other markets, people have said, Kim Side Money Plans has it in her market because she needs the ability to dash now. I get that. That part I get. It's still wrong. It's illegal for them to do that, but I get why she's doing it. However, here, Dash Now is something you still attain at that level, but it means nothing. I can dash anytime I want. I can turn the app on. And before we had the law, it was never pink or red, even on a Friday, Saturday, whatever. There was never the ability to dash now. And I have 14 zones around me in Denver. My zone never was, but none of the rest of it. Sometimes downtown, sometimes. But for the last year, nothing, not even Friday nights, nothing. Now, 24 hours a day, it's pink or red. And I can just dash now all the time. Because with the transparency, I think they're to the point of just let everybody that wants to be on, be on. And because then we can go back to the original method of closest car gets it.
But here's the thing, though. You still know that there's $2 offers out there in your market. You know that. Yeah. The bad part.
Well, that's somebody else's bad habits. They have shown them they'll take those. So I'm saying reprogram your algorithm, especially here in Colorado. Stop taking them. See what they offer you. Because I can tell you this:
everybody should have a minimum, by the way, and it should not be $2.
No,
it should never be $2. So. If you
I
got a very fuel efficient
$2 a mile.
No. I don't mean per mile. Yeah, okay. I mean overall. Not everybody can do $2 a mile either. The market's crazy. Yeah. So, but I truly think everybody can do it more than $1 a mile in any market you go to. And I think anybody should be able to do more than $5 per offer in any market. If you're taking anything less than those, I don't know why you would. Let's say you get stuck on a delivery for 30 minutes, you're getting paid $4. You're making $8 an hour at this rate. Why would you do that?
Well, also, I mean, look at the Uber X people. I mean, pretty much nationwide, 55 cents a mile. You get 15 cents more a mile than the write-off. So,
Well,
you know,
see, that's the funny thing. Whenever I drive in Florida, Steve, I'm constantly over $1 a mile, more about $1.35 a mile with rideshare. Whenever I drive in Oklahoma City, if it doesn't have surge attached to it, yeah, I can't take it. I mean, I'm 45 cents, 55 cents a mile. Like, I would never do those type of rates. I don't know why anybody would.
No, in fact, you know, Jeff over at Mike Drop Barbecue, always like giving him a shout out because he does something that I do too. He tells you, screw the apps, man, get your own clients quick. You know, like that 55 cents is exactly what's going to push people to do exactly that. Pull up to people and say, you know what? How much did you pay for this ride? I'll do it for 80%.
And what the crazy part about all that is too, is 55 cents per mile isn't what Uber's charging the customer.
That's what I mean. You pull up to the customer and you're like, you're making $6 and you're like, what did Uber charge you for this? 20. Okay, I'm making 6. I'm going to cancel it. Will you just give me 15?
Yeah. And people do it all the time.
But this is really going to, I mean, dude, you move something down to 55 cents. It's not just about being underneath that 70 cents. It's just insulting.
Well, you know, recently Lyft has been doing a lot of shady stuff, in my opinion. And I'm actually seeing a lot of my users going and getting their own private license, you know, and some of them work in towns that, you know, they can just go and pass out cards, you know, where they pick up a rider, you know, if they're doing premieres or something, they pick up a rider, they negotiate future rides because you can't do the ride you're on technically, but they negotiate future rides. Hey, call me if I'm available. We'll work out a better rate.
Or you know what? Have a thing on the back of your seat, guys, with a QR. Just have a QR there and say, I do private rides. That way you're not even saying it. Have some examples of some pricing so that you're not even talking about it. You've just got it up there. It's your business. You're free and clear of the offering entity. I'd like to see them take, you know, and I mean, what's the worst thing that can happen? We all know what the worst thing that can happen is you get deactivated, you know, I mean, and yes, that sucks. You know, it's not what you're looking to do, but honestly, are you looking to make 55 cents a mile either?
Right. If you're doing crap rates anyways, what's it matter? I mean, you could go work at McDonald's and make more, less wear and tear on your car, and, you know, more guaranteed money for sure. So if you're doing these low budget rides, you should definitely be looking for some other job.
And not only that, even the good riders you have, you're still always at liability. So like, even if like, you're like, all my riders today were elderly, amazing people. They had great stories. Okay. Well, one of them could fall getting out of the car, whatever. And it's not your fault or anything, but it's a situation now. You're in it. You know, I think a lot of people really think they're still in the W-2 headset and they just think, well, I'm an independent contractor, but I'm not sure what it means. Well, what it means is you're not an employee, and so stop acting like one and don't let them treat you like one. You know, you can take what you want. And yes, there's metrics that'll tell you differently, but those metrics are highly illegal.
Right. But here's the thing, Steve, is since day one that I've met you, and I don't know how many years ago, but it's a long time ago at this point, we have always said metrics only work if drivers allow it to work. Right. Simple as that. If nobody takes low-paying rides, guess what? The rideshare companies have to pay better. Nobody takes low-paying deliveries, they have to boost the money. They just have to, whether it's telling the customers to tip more ahead of time or paying better, surge rates, whatever. Everything that these platforms do, drivers allow. Simple as that.
Yeah. And I mean, and a lot of them are part-time too. And we've talked about that many times where those part-timers probably just don't care too much. They just hop on and they're like, am I making 5 cents less a mile? I don't care. I just want to make some booze money for tonight. You know, it's like, who knows what they're just, I mean, if literally you and I know 65% of the gig economy workers work 7 hours or less a week. You guys think about that. Think about that 65% of all gig workers, not rideshare, not all of them, are working less than 7 hours a week. 85% work 14 hours or less a week.
Right, and I think it was Sergio that said this. I think it was last week or something. And they're contributing to 80% of the rides, the part-time people.
Yeah. So yeah, because they're the only ones that'll take the bad offers because they only have a 3-hour window. They go out on Thursdays every week, so they're gonna optimize it. They'll just be pissed and go, man, why are all the offers so low this week? Because you keep doing it, dude. Stop doing it. You know, I mean, and the legislative part we're working on, that is coming, you guys. This week's coming podcast is absolutely going to blow up some of that. We're going to go through different states. Last week on 13, and then I'm moving on here, I said that I will help anybody that wants to know. Steve at ridesharerodeo.com. Email me your state. Okay, so somebody emailed me from Pittsburgh. I do know the person, but emailed me and said, who are my people? You know, like, or what can I do to look it up? I said, I'll do it. I did it in like 2 minutes. Sent him the both info. I said, email both these people. And I even gave him an auto draft copy that I keep in my notes that I just send to people if they want it. And I said, if you can't think of what to say, just paste this in because it's exactly what they need to hear, you know, but, or speak your own words. But he gave him 2 emails within under 10 minutes. We had emails sent out to his public officials. So there is no longer any excuse, you guys. Like, we can get it done so quickly. You know, you can't say, oh, an email. God. I mean, I'll send you what you can copy paste in, and then it's just your name at the bottom.
And to make it even easier, you can use AI and tell them what you wanted to say, and they'll give you a professional letter.
Well, here's the way I did what I send them is auto copy, like in case they just want to put something in. I did it in a way where I think it'll make you go, never mind, I'll write it. You're like, it'll get you like, okay, I'm mad, dude. Like, you know, and again, don't do it out of anger, but you know, you'll see. But just, we're going to go over that. I'm going to do that on the podcast next week. Might even do some on 13 this week. But I do want to talk about this because I did talk about it before and I brought it up. I said 75. I'm going to change it to 100. I'm actually going up, and the survey didn't come out that good. I asked people in a survey, if for $75 a year, now I'm going to call it 100, guys. So $100 a year, you've had to pay, but you got a background check and a secondary one 6 months later, if needed, would also be done by same company. So we're going to call it 100. Okay. If it could be done and it was real, it wasn't CHEKR, it wasn't a $23 crap background check that even misses felons all the time. And the people that are the correct people are, I mean, if you've moved states, I mean, Gary might go through this soon. Who knows? Because he, you know, like you don't live there. You live in Florida, dude. No, I don't. You know, like,
no, I get 2 a year. Uber pulls two on me each year. One for Florida, one for Oklahoma. But my driver's license is in Florida, so it always, you know, registers that.
But you catch what I mean. The average person, if they move, they wouldn't think of this. I mean, I've said it before, you have too, but some people in here right now might not know this. That's one of the things that throws CHEKR off. If you move states, they actually, it's like a 90% chance you're going to get an issue with CHEKR.
Yeah, because CHEKR does not have your updated driver's license. So whenever they run,
but even if you do, remember Mac and remember all those guys who had changed their driver's license and then still they had submitted it, and they're like, well, it's you know, like he's in Portland, and he submitted his Portland one, and they're like, you don't live in Portland, you live in Boise, Idaho, and he was like, I'm from Boise, Idaho. I've lived in Portland for 5 years and even started on the platform in Portland. But after 5 years, they pulled it and said, you're from Boise. And he's like, I've been working in Portland with a Portland license for 5 years. What do you mean I live in Boise, you idiot? Like, his point was he never worked for the app in Boise ever. 5 years in, he gets a background check and he gets deactivated. I mean, come on, dude. Are you kidding me? This is a company. This is a company that they go to for security. So this is CHEKR. CHEKR is the worst out there. I've dealt with them firsthand. I don't know if Gary has or not, but I had to speak with some of these idiots when I was over at Paraworks. And yes, I called them idiots because they are. Like, I'm surprised. They're in country support, and I'd rather deal with the out of country support people who don't know a damn thing when I need something on an app than these guys. They can't do anything. And I guess I made a short today about it And I said, what do you expect for $23? You know, I mean, what do you can't even get McDonald's for $23. You're running a background check on me. So here's my thing. If you could do a background check, $100 a year, and if a secondary was needed, it would be included in that 100. And that was your security key, your pass to get you into any of the apps. Nope, I did this. On top of that, so if people are wondering why would the apps ever want to let you do that? Well, I was talking to a couple of people that I talked to here in the legislature. Stephanie, for one, I threw it by her, and then I threw it by a couple other people though, and I wanted to know, because I was like, if this happened and you're using a real company, a background check company, potentially even, and I don't want to say this yet, I don't want to scare anybody, but even a fingerprinting one, because I actually think that's a good idea. Especially for rideshare. That's just that's why I don't want to get into it too heavy. You delivery people, don't worry about it, but because of Uber Teen and that stupid move they made, I really worry about some stuff. So they should make sure you're not a pedophile. That's just basically what I'm saying. It's really not about more than that, but you're getting, let's say even the companies know, oh, he's getting a background check that's 5 times better than ours. We just would never pay for that for drivers. Why wouldn't they? Now they don't have to pay for the one from you. Now they don't have to pay for my CHEKR. And I've gone through one that can say, yes, we certified him. It's not like I'm faking it. It's like uploading my insurance or my registration. It's real. Here it is.
Now, here's the reason why I would prefer to do my own background check with any platform out there. Because if they say, hey, we need your background report, right? Okay, mm-hmm. I go to this company, I get it ran, they give it to me, and I can go, oh, no, this isn't right.
Exactly.
This needs to be fixed before you submit it. Yeah, exactly. And I don't have to go through this. Oh, they ran it, now I'm deactivated, blah, blah, blah. You know, it's a ridiculous thing that's how that works.
Exactly my point, because that is how you running your own, that is how it would work. It's not like they're going to submit things for you. They're giving it to you. You requested it. So it's going to be an official whatever, but it's going to be run for you. And they'll go through, most of them have that kind of, it's a feature in there. We'll go through anything that looks odd to us with you. Hey, what is this? And you just explain it and they fix it in real time. Whereas if you're explaining it to a person in India and they can't hear over the goat, then, it's like, are you actually even helping me? No. It's like, I mean, honestly, like people get you get deactivated on this platform. If you could do your own background check and you're getting it back and you're going and you get it all solved, because they're not going to solve it for you. And you get it all solved and then you're just submitting it as already passed. Now they don't have to spend any money on it. Why wouldn't they? Hell, to me, that's, instead of metrics, that's what should make you a preferred driver. But here's the thing about the survey I put out. I had about 90 people do it. I left it up for, I think it was up for like 5 days or something. And I said, would you pay $75? No, it's $100 now. Would you pay $100 to do this background check once a year out of your pocket? And so that you never have so that you're not in any jeopardy with any gig app ever, and you don't ever have to worry about that being an issue. 65% said they would not. Here's my thing, guys. If you're not willing to put $100 into this, you don't understand that it's a business. And I'm not trying to be a jerk. I'm just being honest. I mean,
well, that's what we've always said, though, is a lot of people have this W-2 mindset that the company should pay for everything. And, besides rideshare, any other independent contract work I've ever done, I'm responsible for paying for my background check, my fingerprinting, all this stuff that I have to submit to whatever company I'm going to,
And for what it's worth, I'm not 100% sure, maybe you are, but for what it's worth, I believe you'd probably be able to write that off. Wouldn't you? I mean, that's a business expense, right?
Yeah, anything that's directly tied to your business that you require, and that would I forget what it's listed as on the actual taxes, but yes, you can arrive. It's like
right. You can't work with certain brokers like Uber without it, so you have to run it.
Right. It's something that is required. So there's actually every software out there for taxes has a spot for it. So
I don't know where out of the 90 because when I do surveys, I'm sure a lot of people who just pass by see them, but I know a lot of you guys who watch do those surveys. So that means a lot of you were saying that you wouldn't pay that $100. That worried me a bit. You know, I get it that we're all strapped and you're like, dude, I don't even have $100 right now. Like, I get all that. But I mean, like, again, it's your business, man. Like, you've got a car, you got to, I mean, I can't remember. Remember when we had Ash from Canada on and you were trying to, you said to her, you were like, well, she was like doing her breakdown, and we love Ash, by the way, but she was doing her breakdown and she said, well, that's it. And you're like, you didn't even mention car maintenance. And she's like, I don't do that. You're like, what do you mean you don't do that? Like,
Yeah, Ash is great. Ash is my birthday.
you're like,
twin, by the way.
tires, oil changes.
Yeah.
She's like, I don't do that stuff. Like, so again, you know, I'm just saying, if you did vote on that poll and you said no, I wouldn't pay for it, man, I mean, like, rethink it. Maybe you really wouldn't, but rethink. If you wouldn't, you might want to ponder if this is even right for you. Because in any business that you own yourself, and again, a lot of people get in this mindset of the pay's so bad now. It's not, I'm not an independent contractor, I'm an employee. No, you're not. There's a lot, employee can get a lot worse, guys. Maybe you're experiencing worse pay right now, but employee status is why most of us are here. I mean, I was doing independent contractor stuff prior to this, all my lasers and lighting and production work since the late 90s. But the gig apps, that's awesome to me, because that was flip it on, flip it off, work, don't work, you know, like no boss. So even during bad times, I mean, look at all the W-2 layoffs right now. I mean, and sadly, where do you think they're going to come to? A lot of them are going to come here. And so, last thing I wanted to bring up was, so anyway, I wanted to know what you guys all think. I see that Bubba Sue said she'd pay for it. Josh said he'd pay for it, but I don't know. There were a bunch of people who said there was a decent amount more than not. There were few people that said they would. Now that was concerning. I honestly thought it was going to be 70 plus. Yes, I would. That was my thought. And it was 35. Yes. I was like, that's really sad, you know? Nothing against any of you guys who said that. I mean, if that's how you feel, that's how you feel. It's just, you know, if you can't make that kind of money to put that into yourself. And again, it's what protects you. It's what's going to stop a wrongful deactivation, you know, and it allows you to go, oh, there's a new app here. And it's almost like, think of it like a fob or like some kind of key. It's just like, you just submit it. Boom, you're in. You don't have to go, oh, where's that thing again? Where's that file? Where's that? You know, it's just like, you're done. You give them like a key that they verify with this company. Okay, you're good. You know, and again, I hate saying it this way because none of us want to give them a win at all, but you're giving the company a little win too. They don't have to pay the $23 that they know doesn't do anything to CHEKR anymore. They just pay that so they can say everybody's background checked, but you're not. I can tell you again, in case you missed it the first time, CHEKR sucks bad. But so, okay, Incognia real quick. So facial recognition is out by the end of the year. They've taken over. They're now doing DoorDash, Uber, Lyft, Grubhub. So I had Andre on for a second time, CEO and founder of Incognia. They're in 500 million phones, 500 plus million phones worldwide. And I asked him just for the breakdown, just for giggles, 45% iPhone, 55% Android. Yeah. So, but so what they're moving to is, and you guys might not love it, but it's a breakdown of catching fraudster accounts. And actually, so what they're going to do is the primary basis will be done on habits of your phone. So if they notice you stepping outside of the habits, that doesn't mean you're deactivated or in trouble, but they're going to secondary check you now. Like, what are you doing? You know, why are you in Alaska? You live in Colorado. What's up? Like, they're going to notice things. You know, it doesn't mean you can't still do it, but they're and people have said to me, well, that's Big Brother. Guess what, guys? Big Brother is the apps too. So do you want the apps doing it? I'd much rather have the Andre Faraz from Incognia with my software because he actually understands the safety of handling software. And I mean, the reason they're so big is they handle banks around the world. These, it wasn't like, wow, he's got his biggest clients. These aren't as big as Uber and DoorDash aren't his biggest clients. They're not even close.
You want to know why I would rather have him, Steve? Is because the outcome of it does not directly reflect their business model. You know, with Uber and them tracking you and things like that, that's directly affecting their own business model. Having a third-party company outside of them do all the tracking, it doesn't matter what they find. They're not going to purposely track something that they should not be tracking.
Well, not only that, get this. I love this. So this second interview, we went over deactivations and the wrongful deactivation thing because I brought it up in the first, and I didn't even have it in my questions or my notes for him that second time. But he said, you know how we talked about that the first time? He goes, I wanted to revisit that because we now are able to, through habits, help you with deactivations. So if you get wrongfully deactivated, they can go on your part to DoorDash and go, no, that's not how it went down. And it's all tech, it's all numbers and stuff, and it's passing through. This is what happened. And they'll be like, oh, you're back on, instead of waiting months. Sometimes they wait months and put you back on, even if they didn't solve your case, honestly. They figure, you know what? It was questionable. Just deactivate him for 3 months. Let's see if he's still around then. That is a solution of theirs. You know how bad of a solution that is? Do you understand how bad of I mean, like this company, we always rag on them, but how can you not? I mean, this is how a multi-billion-dollar company works. Like, we think he did something bad. Well, should I pause him? Just throttle him? No, just deactivate him for 60 days. And if he's still around, let's see how he does then. What? That's a thing. So, but what he said is they can act on your behalf to get you reactivated. He said that drivers fall into 3 categories of how they've already broken them down: high risk, medium risk, and low risk. So like all of us, he said, I mean, generalizing to like a Gary and me and probably most of you, we're all in the low. We're not on their radar at all. They know who the fraudsters are. They do. They have a little trouble pinpointing them sometimes, but they actually, so here's the first time I interviewed with him, he said that he was picking up some of the companies I named, all the giants. Now he has all the giants, but he was only picking up a couple then because they didn't want to spend the money. That's sad. Now they're spending the money, but he said he actually gave away a little too much, because he said literally, like, okay, so with DoorDash, they were still at the point of they weren't ready to spend the money, right? They didn't want to spend the money on this. And then he said that this is crazy to me. So here's his quote. If any of the gig apps and he was referring to Uber, DoorDash, and another one, and I can't remember. It wasn't Grubhub, but if any of the gig app, it was an out of country one, but Uber and DoorDash, if any of the gig apps deactivated the highest 10% of the bad actors who fall into our high risk category on the platforms, their quarterly earnings would go up 300%. He took that to DoorDash and they're like, okay, we will hire you. I mean, really, like, we've been dealing with some of the worst fake account situations for years here, and DoorDash has been going, well, we can't spend the money on that. Now he's like, look, with our new way we do it, the multi-level stuff, he goes, if we can, I mean, he knew what we were talking about the first time. Yeah, way too many people get wrongfully deactivated. So he knows this is all going on, and that, it's like a new employee, even though we're not. When you got to bring somebody new on the platform, there's advantages because they'll take everything, but you're still dealing with somebody that might quit after a day or whatever. So you don't want to lose veterans or this. He said, if we go in and deactivate the highest 10% of the bad actors, he said, and he even pointed out a couple might come back and go, whoa, I didn't. And we would double check that for them and make sure. We would be very careful in this strategy. But he said that if we did that either Uber or DoorDash would triple their earnings in a quarter in any of the quarters he evaluated for the last 2 years. Come on, man. Are you kidding me? I don't even understand how that works, because if that's the case, then we're all these bad actors that were taking all the bad offers. I mean, I guess I just can't wrap my head around, like, because his job is only that, and he has a whole team worldwide. But it's just one of those things I just can't wrap it around. But when I hear that number and it's from him and the way he said it, it's just incredible. Like, dude, they've been trying to figure out a way to make money for years. You're telling me that if you just go in and take the worst 10% out, that you'll make 300%. Why haven't you done that?
Because honestly, they probably don't know how. I mean, let's be real. I mean,
again, though, that's just beyond sad to me. Even, I mean, we know they're not, but even you said it earlier, they're a tech company. Really?
They're supposed to be a tech company.
I know,
In
but
fact, here's the thing. They're
They
supposed to be a tech company, and they don't even have any tech. Like, what tech do they have that's not already been created? Name one thing that they have. They don't even have that. They don't have that. Waymo
they just bought another one. They just bought Bolt again.
Oh, again. So they keep buying companies to resell companies to claim that they're a tech company.
They've owned the index in Russia twice.
Yeah.
And they don't own it again now. So that'll be the hat trick.
That's my point, though. They're a tech company that has no tech that hasn't already been invented. You know, I mean, besides a database, okay, I guess they're a tech company now.
I'm just saying, I like where the incognito thing is going. And guys, like, I think, like, with me, with my state and my law about deactivations, I'm sitting in a prettier position. And with this incognito thing where they're going to help out, it's almost like they're saying I feel like in this second pitch, I can almost be a fly. I can almost pretend like I was a fly on the wall, because I can almost imagine him going back and going, I have the biggest banks in the world. I don't need your business. It's not like he's like shaking, approaching the biggest client he might ever have. He has he has like 100 bigger clients, 1,000, whatever, you know? So he's almost, it's like, dude, whatever, man. He's like, you know, I'd like to have your business, but I think he went back in a little more forceful and was like, listen, your company is a hot mess. And I need to get in there and fix everything. like the security wise, because he always refers to it as fraudsters. No matter what I say, illegal account, this, that, the other. He was talking about people who, I said, you know, like there was a time when people have stacked phones in restaurants, like have 4 or 5 phones last year when we had some of those problems in my city. He goes, the most messed up thing is, he goes, we had an incident where somebody had 8 phones, and through those phones had 240 different accounts. So, like, I'm going, what? Like, he's like, each of those phones could be broke apart so heavily into so many different accounts. It's crazy what they're doing. And so I'm thinking, okay, if he's seeing all this, obviously this is the guy for the job. But now here's where I guess then I bring it back around and I say, that now, so we have incognito that can help you a little bit with that. They're going to have better security. So that's out of the way. You need to be free and clear of the company that's giving you the work or passing it along, a client to you. But now, there's a lot of states, and we're not going to go down this well today, but I mentioned it on 13. There's a lot of actually most states are looking at legislation. Most of the legislation is a Prop 22 mirror. It is exact. I mean, it's techno copy, because everybody, when I think, was it Tuesday? Tuesday was the 85th anniversary of the Fair Labor Standards Act. Okay. So that's about when this ABC language came in 85 years ago. So do you know how dated anything will be from 85 years ago? Seriously. And even then, like the IRS or Barella test was much better, but like you guys now this is what I was trying to get across in 13, and what I'm probably going to talk about more in 13 in this next podcast, because it needs to be done now. And that's why I had Mike on at the beginning about those videos, make them. I will be talking about that more at length too, but you guys need transparency. They spent 4 times as much here, the gig apps, fighting transparency law as they did 120% of active time. Because in Seattle and Washington and California, where everybody thought Prop 22 is great because of the active time, 120% of minimum wage, I'll take it. you're basically accepting a job without any of the perks of a job, but you're going to be a W-2 employee type. But the other thing is this is why I hate active time, or even the term. There is no such thing, but this is why I hate the term active time, because who controls that active time? The same platform that just signed a law saying they'll pay you 120% of minimum wage for active time. So they're controlling you. I mean, they'll just say, okay, that Steve makes $25 an hour on average. Now throttle him down to where he's making, with active time, he's making 20. They're going to take it out on you. I mean, literally, and they love it and if any of the states are like, we like this Prop 22 language, well, they're like there in a minute signing it and not even going into court. It's like DoorDash when they get caught tip stealing. They just sign a check and say, we don't want to go to court. We absolutely stole. Like it's the same thing. It's like they won't even go to court to fight. If a state wants Prop 22, you should be scared that they're running there to sign it before you get wise and don't want it.
Yeah, something definitely wrong if they're wanting it.
And they love it, dude. Because I mean, literally, look at everybody. And I mean, maybe there's some, but look at everybody in California now. You know too, Gary. A lot of them loved it when it came out. Now if you remember, like I think it was like 4 or 5 months ago, they were trying to protest, and the Ninth Circuit had to weigh in and go, the only thing that you agreed to in Prop 22 is that you wouldn't organize, so you can't. And they're like, but we don't like it anymore. And I was like, oh my God, this is why you shouldn't have put it in place, you idiots. Like, I mean, I don't know. I feel bad. I don't know where exactly Minnesota's is, but like New York, there are still some people who tell me I do good on it. Those are the people who are okay with floor meets ceiling. I'm not. I need to be able to make money. It's like rideshare. Why would you do the midnight shift in New York City if you're going to make the same as the guy who does the morning shift? Because the rideshare drivers I know who used to do the night shift made 4 times what the day people did. They just had a 50-50 shot of being killed every night. So they were really rolling them dice. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, at the same time, man, that's what I'm saying though. Like bartenders. Your bartenders make most money from 10 a.m. to 2 or from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. Nobody wants to work from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. You don't make anything. So like, I mean, if you were working as a bartender and you had all day shifts, you'd be begging for a night shift, even if you want nights off, because you're not gonna be able to live on it. So that floor meets ceiling is where I view the New York people that are like, no, I'm okay with it. I feel like those people never were raging it and know that it could have been so much better. And so I don't know. A lot of your states are looking at Prop 22. And it's like the snake oil salesman that's coming through town back in the olden days. You got to stop them before they leave town, because if your elected officials even hint towards that looks okay, they're like, here, we've got it all written up. Just sign right there. Like, you guys want transparency laws? Email me, steve@ridesharerodeo.com. Catch 13 this week and catch the podcast on Monday. Because I'm trying to wrap this all up right now, because there's a lot of things going on, because this year, November, New Jersey's voting on something very important, but most states are on the off year, and most states will vote for your governors and elected officials next year in November 2026. But that means a lot of term limited people are on their way out. So they're trying to make constituents happy and supporters happy. And if DoorDash was a sponsor of that elected official, which is sad that I even have to say this, and they have lobbyists who work for them, they are looking towards their after elected official career to be having a little DoorDash money coming in. It's sad. It's the dirtiness of politics, but it's important that you guys know that transparency is on the table, and it's not a hard sell to these elected officials either. When we were doing it in Colorado, it's like Gary said, they just don't know about the laws, or like Mike said earlier, they just don't know about the laws. Once they're shown and they see that, oh, you're not asking me for a bunch of money, and actually this doesn't even have to involve 120% in some weird math. You just want transparency. Okay, we can do that. You don't need any money from us? Nope. Yeah, we'll sign that into law, no problem. You know, they're down with it actually. So challenge them, because this is what I want to end with here, is that if not, realize that they've heard from 10 or 20 people, or their aides have 25 people at most. But every one of those 25 people are people who want to be employees or union shills or whatever, are sent in because they're professionals and they go make noise like that. We don't. We're not making noise. We're not. I mean, like when I was telling you guys the Pittsburgh story, in 10 minutes, I researched who he had to contact, sent it to him. And in that same 10 minutes, he sent him out, and we were back in touch on the phone again, all within 10 minutes. He had emailed both people that he needed to. And that's one person that was now in Pittsburgh voting or showing their elected officials, I don't want what you probably are hearing some people want. And there's a lot more of me than them. That's why there needs to be some noise made. And that's why I'm trying to make it super easy for you guys. So watch 13 on Saturday, watch the podcast on Monday. And again, you can email me, tell me your state. And if you don't want to give away everything, just, you know, if you want to make it real easy for me, just tell me your zip code. Email me and say, hey, Steve, this is my zip code. Who do I email? I'll email you back, and I'll just say, here's the 2 emails. You don't even need to know the people. You don't need to know anything. Just email them, especially if they're your constituent. I mean, if they're state or whatever, but I mean, I guess regardless, but if you're in their exact zone, that's their constituent. They have to listen to you, or their aides do, or whatever. I think that too many people are unsold on the political system. It is trash, but it's our trash. But it's the trash we have to deal with, man, you know? And so there is a way to do it. And that's all that I got to say, really. Okay. So yeah, that's all I had for the week. I'm glad Mike joined us. If you guys missed the start, I'm going to actually drop that as a video separate tomorrow, the Mike and I part that we did in the beginning, because those videos are crucial. And Mike's willing to even do some giveaways. He's trying to find some sponsors. Remember, he goes in and talks to federal legislators with all the stuff we talk about. He takes the video testimonials to people like Virginia Fox and people, senators, like national, state, he knows all these people. He writes legislation, guys. Like, just do these easy things. Let's make something happen, because this isn't an organization. This isn't a strike. This isn't don't turn the app on. This is just an easy move that you can do that potentially saves all of our asses. That's it. You're not putting anything on the line. Because here's my reason. Because things can only get worse. If you do this, you're not, no harm, no foul. But if you don't do it and something happens, then you better remember you didn't do it. Because it could have made a difference. We made a difference here in Colorado. If I didn't have an example, I wouldn't be able to be so in your face about it right now. But now it is happening in Colorado. It can be done. So if it can be done, it can be done. And that's all I got. Gary, you got anything else?
No.
other than 8%?
Other than 8%, yeah. Yes,
all right, guys.
Tim, we're threatening you. Do what we tell you to.
Oh, I didn't even see it. What did Tim say? Yes, it is a threat. Absolutely. I mean, I don't know. We'll find a way, but we'll get you somehow. Guys, we're out of here. We love you. See you soon. Peace.
Well, just a humble cowboy. I don't drive no truck or tractor, but when it comes to rideshare, I'm a legendary factor. I'm Steve from the Rideshare Rodeo. I know the roads like my kin, helping all them drivers out there make that mileage spin. From Nashville to LA, I've seen it all, my friend. Late nights and early mornings, driving till the daylight ends. I've heard all the stories, shared a laugh or two with them rideshare cowboys out there hustling for their due. Saddle up, my friends, it's time to ride. The Rideshare Rodeo, we're changing lives. We navigate the highways through the city lights ablaze. The be by our side. We're driving our own way.